Hi everyone, I'm going to share with you some information about what documents you should take to the naturalization interview. So the following is documents that you must take to your naturalization test. Your interview appointment notice, your permanent resident card, your driver's license or state-issued ID, all current and expired passports and travel documents, which depending on your individual case, you may need to have other documents ready with you. You should take the original documents for the following items if applicable. You also should take evidence of your current marital status. You must be able to prove that all of your previous marriages, if applicable, and your current spouse's previous marriages have been terminated. Examples of acceptable documents such as a marriage certificate, a divorce decree, an annulment decree, or death certificates of a former spouse. You should also state whether you are filing as a spouse of a US citizen. If you filed Form N-400 on the basis of marriage to a US citizen, you'll need to prove that your spouse has been a US citizen for at least 3 years and that you and your spouse lived in marital union for at least 3 years. In addition to the marriage certificate, take documents such as tax returns, lease agreements, bank statements, utility bills, car titles, insurance statements, and any other documents during this 3-year period that help establish and prove your marital union. Take evidence that you have complied with your obligation to file an income tax return for at least the past 5 years, or 3 years if filing on the basis of marriage to a US citizen. Take copies of your tax returns or an IRS tax transcript listing tax information for the past 5 years. If you have overdue taxes to the federal, state, or local, take a signed agreement from that tax agency showing that you have arranged to pay the taxes you owe, and documentation from the same agency showing the current status of your payments. Take evidence that all of your children listed on your naturalization application are in fact your children. Examples of acceptable documents include birth certificates or adoption decrees. For your dependents, if you have dependent children living apart from you, take evidence to establish that you support each dependent child and that you have complied with child support obligations. An inability to prove this may lead to a denial of naturalization due to not meeting the good moral character requirement. Examples of acceptable documents include canceled checks, money order receipts, court documents showing child support payments, evidence of wage garnishments, or a letter from the parents of the children. If you have taken a trip outside the United States for more than 6 months, but less than 1 year, take documentation to establish that you maintained continuous residence in the US during your absence. Failure to prove you maintained continuous residence may lead to a denial of your application. Some examples of acceptable documents include documentation to show that you did not terminate employment in the US, did not obtain employment while abroad, and your immediate family remained in the US. If you were ever arrested, detained, or convicted, you will need to take evidence of the disposition for each incident. For selective service registration, if you are a male who lived in the United States anytime between your 18th and 26th birthdays, take proof that you registered for the selective service. If you have ever served in the US military or are applying based on military service under sections 328 or 329 of the INA, take an original and certified Form N-426. If you're a veteran and were separated from the US Armed Forces at the time of filing N-400, you may submit an uncertified Form N-426 only if you bring a photocopy of your DD Form 214 for all periods of service captured on N-426. You do not need to offer any of the documents listed above until asked by the USCIS officer conducting your interview. In many cases, the officer won't ever ask for some of these documents. But if you have these documents ready, you'll avoid delays and make your way to your US citizenship.